when considering hip mobility, you must realize that everything's connected. So if there's a muscle that's extra tight, there's going to be some compensations happening within the hips. So your hips can begin rotating. You can have tightness throughout your back, tightness throughout your hamstrings. So you do want to make sure you're focusing on not just your hip flexors, but your glutes, your adductors, your hamstrings, as well as your lower back. So we're going to start off with exercises that can be done in the seated position. Okay, so if you have some type of desk chair, or even sitting on the edge of a bed or a bench, you're going to go ahead and start in that figure 4 position. So I'm going to pretend right now that this is our chair. Okay, we're going to go ahead, and it's going to be a little bit harder on a ball. You can go ahead and go into the figure 4 position, and then pull the knee into the chest. Okay? Figure 4 position, sitting up nice and tall, pushing your knee away, pulling your toe towards your face, pushing away, and pulling your knee. Okay? The next one you can go ahead and do is go to the edge of your chair, drop that hip back to the edge, open up your hip, and do a little bit of a side reach. Okay? And the next one you're going to go ahead and do is a single leg hamstring stretch. So seated, one leg at a time, pulling that foot towards your face, pushing your chest forward, flexing and relaxing that foot, completing that on both legs. Okay? The next one we're going to do is lying. So whether you're on a bed or the floor, go ahead. You can also start off kneeling or standing up as well with some of these exercises. But the first one we're going to do is a knee pull. Okay. Pulling that into the armpit, across the chest, into the armpit, across the chest, into the armpit, and going into a double figure 4 position. Dropping that foot down to the side and pulling that knee in towards your chest, using that bottom leg to actually drive that knee up into the ankle. And again, pulling that knee away, pushing that knee back. Those are 2 different options. 2 more would be a rocking adductor. So starting on all 4s, butt out to the side, rocking back, and forced, keeping that back nice and flat. A couple of these, going into pigeon pose, a couple of rocks in this position, and then back out into a quadruped adductor position. Okay. Going through in a half kneeling position, opening up that hip flexor, bringing those hips down towards the ground, leaning back, stretching out the hamstring, the opposite leg. And you can even add into the quad pull as well, because that quad does attach in those hips, okay, the origin of the quadriceps muscle. And leaning, and for a deeper stretch, go ahead and squeeze the glute on that same leg for the antagonist muscle group to contract. Doing the opposite as well. Reach, rock back into the hamstrings, rock forward. You can grab that back foot for a quad pull. Okay, and then standing, such as if you're at the office, you can go ahead and start in a split stance position. Okay, on railroad tracks instead of being on a tightrope, so your balance isn't off. Go ahead and just straighten that back leg, open up that hip here, and add in a little bit of a reach. And going in directly into the hamstring scoop, keeping that back nice and flat, chest up. And adding into the last one is a side reach over, making sure you're stretching out those obliques, because those are also connected down into those hip flexors and into the pelvic girdle.